Hey guys, Alex Kahn here, and for today's video, I want to hear what your thoughts, and I want you to hear my thoughts on diecast resin cars that have never been made into diecast or resin form. Some of these cars that I am mentioning were made into 1/64 scale, but what I want is, for myself, primarily a bigger scale like 1/24, or more preferably the 1/18 scale in diecast or resin form. I'm not really a snob on which one it's made into. So I could honestly name about 70 cars that I would love to see made into 1/18 scale. But just for time's sake, I'm going to name my top 10. And for this, I'm going to start with number 10 and then work my way up to number 1. So number 10 is from the Sylvester Stallone movie called Cobra, in which he drives a 1950 Mercury Coupe, and it had some customizations made to that car to specifically suit Stallone's character in that movie. And I don't know how they filmed it, because that car was trashed. I don't know if they used an actual Mercury for that. If they did, that's a real tragedy. But at least it was immortalized into film form. Number 9, a lot of people won't agree with this because, one, they've never seen it, or two, they didn't really think about it. But number 9 is the made specifically for the movie, the Dominator from Hurricane Heist. And with a made-for-movie car like this, these are a lot harder to replicate on your own if you're making your own diecast. But there's just way too much customization and modifications needed. So I would like to have a professional manufacturer make the Dominator from that movie. If you guys never seen the movie, basically there is a heist that takes place in a hurricane. So the main hero, he is a meteorologist, I believe, but he drives around in the Dominator, which was made specifically to withstand hurricanes. So in that movie, he actually drives this car around to fight the bad guys, and it's so cool. I love it. I would love to have a die-cast form of that in 1/18 scale. Number 8, and this is from I Am Legend, and I'm not going to mention the Shelby from that movie, even though it's really cool. They already have a die-cast form of that car. All you would need is the proper license plate for it. So I want to mention the 2007 Ford Expedition. Yeah, 2007 Ford Expedition that Will Smith drove for most of the rest of that movie. And in that movie, there are giant roof lights on it. There's a luggage rack and all kinds of luggage on top in case Will Smith does need to get out of there. So that one has a very unique and distinctive look to it, one that can't be replicated by buying that car in stock form. Number 7 for me is the morphed Defender from the Viper TV series from the 90s. And I know they made this car in a RC car form, but that one wasn't as precise and as exact as the one seen in the TV show. So I think in diecast form, you can really replicate this car. And I think for the diecast form, they can also add some of the features that this car had, like the front ram that it had, also the side weapons on it too. There's so much you can do with that car. To be honest, though, on a tangent, I also liked the 92 Viper made by Dodge, the RT10. But you can also buy that car in diecast form already. You just need the right license plate for it. Number 7, the 63 Volkswagen from Herbie Fully Loaded. Now, they have so many diecast versions of this Volkswagen from the Herbie movies, but they've never made the one from the 2005 movie, which is the most unique form that Herbie ever took. This one in that movie has side scoops on it, and it also has a very distinctive whale tail wing in the very back, which separates it from the rest of the other Herbie movie cars out there. And that one they made in RC form, but I want to see that in diecast form. Number 5. So the 1971 Ford Custom 500 from White Lightning, which is my favorite Burt Reynolds movie of all time, even better, in my opinion, than Smokey and the Bandit, which I also did like that movie a lot, but that one had a more comedic element to it. What I liked about White Lightning is it was a lot more serious, and I loved the way that car looked. It looked so unassuming, but they added an engine in it, a very strong one, at the beginning of the movie, which lets Burt Reynolds go on moonshine runs with it, which was part of his cover in the movie. So that one definitely needs a die-cast form 1/18 scale. Number 4, this one's kind of ridiculous, guys. I know it's ridiculous, but this car is so distinctive. If you saw it, you would immediately recognize what movie it's from, and that's the 1986 Winnebago 33, the Chieftain 33 from Spaceballs. Yes, I know it's not realistic, but that would be so awesome to own in die-cast form, especially in 1/18 scale. That would be so huge because of the wingspan on it. But if you saw it, yeah, it can only be from one movie, and that's Spaceballs. Number 3. Now, this is the only car that I would prefer to have in 1/24 scale, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But the 1957 Plymouth Belvedere used in the California Kid TV show. Actually, it was a TV movie, and it was driven by Vic Morrow, driving against oh my gosh, what's his name? Martin Sheen in the California Kid, which was an old Ford from the 30s. But Danbury Mint already made the Ford in 1/24 scale, but they never made the sheriff's car. So I would love to see them make a 1/24 scale version of that car. And that, to me, is the most iconic police car in a TV or movie show. I know some people would say Blues Brothers or some other cop car, but for me, it's definitely the Plymouth Belvedere from California Kid. That car was so menacing, especially with those big fat tires on it. And then my number 2 and number 1, I made a separate picture collage for these two because they're so special. So number 2, it's the 1986 Ford Taurus from RoboCop, the first movie. I think it was also used in number 2 and number 3, but they actually switched to a Mustang in the TV show. But this car was made in plastic toy form for for kids, and they also made a model kit for it in like 1/25th scale, I believe. But they never made a die-cast version of this, as far as I know. This car is begging to be made in 1/18 scale die-cast, and I know people would buy it. They would definitely buy this car. So I would love to have that one. And because of time, let's jump into number 1. And I can't believe they've never made this car in die-cast. I don't think they even made this in a model kit, but it's the 73 Oldsmobile Delta 88 from Raimi's Evil Dead series. And this car also made cameos in other Raimi movies like Spider-Man, but most notably from the Evil Dead series, Army of Darkness, Ash vs. Evil Dead. Why has this yellow car never been made into diecast? I can only think of legal reasons, because I'm pretty sure I am not the first person to suggest that this car gets made into 1/18 scale, or even 1/24 scale, 1/64 scale, whatever. So yeah, that's my list of diecast or resin cars that I would love to see made into those forms. And again, I could name 50 other cars easily, but just for time's sake, I just named my top 10. But I want to hear what your list is. What cars from TV or movie shows would you like to see made into resin or diecast, or any car in general? But I guess for me, TV movie cars are pretty special, just because most people have seen these TV movies and they can easily identify these cars. But yeah, name yours. Name what scale you want it in. I can't make it. I just want to hear your lists. And what do you think of my list? So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later.